So, good afternoon to those of us that are still here. I actually want to tell you about the Aero project, which is a specific project that evolved in Sheba Medical Center because of the medical students. So it was not our idea as a clinician, but actually it was something, and I'll tell you about it in a minute. What is the Aero project? In Hebrew, פרויקט חץ או חוקר צעיר, so these are the high marks. When it is translated, it is an Aero project, and the aim was to actually target young students in research, and it was initiated in 2006, and our aims was to create young and multidisciplinary research teams. The idea was to have a combination of motivated and exceptional students in the early years of their studies, when they are still don't know exactly where they should go or what is best or whatever, and to actually collaborate students from medicine, biology, bioinformatics, statistics, physics, psychology, and computer science. This will enable us to have a platform that will strengthen the students' knowledge and practice and train them to better physician and researcher. So the idea was really a real collaboration, and the first group of students indeed were from a multidisciplinary, and not also only from Tau, also from Bar Ilan. But eventually, from 2006 till now, I need to admit that all of the students are medical students. And the students were interested, and it came from different kinds of also clinicians. And as I was nominated to be the Vice Dean of Academic Education, I had some ideas what to do in order to enhance the collaboration from the pre-clinical years of the students. The students were very much interested to be involved in the clinic, especially medical, young medical students. They wanted to feel already in the first or second year how it is to be in the hospital, what we are doing. On the other hand, many of the physicians really lacked knowledge. It's not nice to say, but you know that when I studied, they didn't teach me about gene expression or mRNA, new studies and so on, or even many MRI procedures are not known. So for the clinician, it was very important to have also new people that bring, ask questions and bring new knowledge. So this is what I've already said, that with the extreme overflow of information and knowledge, there are many questions in new fields that are really unsolved. And if we really try to collaborate from the early years, the students, this will be, I think, an innovation, and many of the students will be open to many aspects of the clinic. The teams that have been built over the years are really doing this rationale. We really incorporated students from the idea of a research. Just they could ask questions, and they offered solution. They participated in a team discussion and the formation of the study itself, asking specific questions and sometimes even giving the light. On an additional very important topic, the students are paid by a designated grant from Sheba Medical Center, and it was important for me because as a medical student, when I did my research in the hospital in the medical years, nobody paid us. And also as a doctors, we are used not to get really a very nice salaries. So it's important to give some dignity to what you are doing, even in research, and even if the salaries are not really high. So all the students are paid. And there are different research topics. I'll show you some examples, but they are really based on integrating both basic immunology or molecular genetics or basic science in a way, and also to introduce image analysis, MRI specifically, That means that neuroscience became really one of, I would say, like 70 to 80% of the students are involved in different projects all over the hospital in neuroscience. And even if they are not doing the brain, they do methodology, for instance, cardiac MRI, which is definitely not neuroscience, but if you understand the MRI machine and what it's doing to the heart, probably next year you could choose another project. And the idea is also that students will move from one project to another and not stay for 6 years on the same project. So just to show you the process to the students, before being accepted, students are evaluated by the learning achievement and personal interest. We have a committee that is doing the interviews. We also give them sometimes assignments because within the years we have many students that are applying and we need to choose. So we want to do the best as we can to choose the appropriate students to the appropriate project. The idea is that the student should spend at least 10 hours per week in the hospital, and they also participate in lecture. And if, for instance, a student is assigned to meet in the Multiple Sclerosis Center, then he is invited also to see patients, to work with us in the clinic if they have some day off, and to really understand what we are doing on the clinical basic. We also, for the whole group, give a specific emphasis on ethical issues, statistics. We have a specific statistician that actually goes with the project. He doesn't do the statistic to the students, but he really teaches them what should you do, what test should you use, what would you use SPSS, why should you use it, and so on. We have some dignified lecture on different topics related to patents, and we try to do our best, and also we ask the students also how to behave. Should we sometimes even to teach them how to dress? You know, it could be important because they go to the patients, they touch the patient, and it's sometimes very intimate, but this is maybe important not only to medical students. So just I will finish by showing you we have currently 30 students in the 2004, and this is how it evolved. We started with actually 5 students, and in 2010 actually we had a kind of jump, and again in 2013. And I think that 30 students are actually the maximum that at least I could handle, or the hospital, because it is really a very big effort that everybody is making, especially physicians from many other departments. And some samples is, I'm showing you mainly my students, but so looking at brain microstructure and also changes in cognitive performance in similar, doing a correlation with cortical thickness related to cognition in multiple sclerosis patient. Students that did nothing to do with neuroscience, but she did very nice work on Israeli travelers, where she actually established a database that the physician could never establish that without her. Another student that did an evaluation of nocturnal hypertension in adolescents with type 1 diabetes mellitus, and she went to the houses and she really did amazing work, again with presenting in a clinical conference, genetic clinic, MRI with correlation to gene expression data, CSF parameters in patients with early demyelinating disease, work on ataxia telangiectasia, another work on Gerlin in children with Helicobacter pylori, and also works on brain atrophy. So these are the team for 2014. And just to mention that we also collaborated students from the New York project, which are actually staying in Israel for their medical studies for 4 years. And they also changed the pattern because now we, within the last 2 years, we switched to English. So all the meetings are in English, all the presentations are in English. So I myself also improved my English. So And I actually invite all the students that are listening, if they are interested, to apply, and maybe also from other disciplines. As well as I hope that Uri will be in a better touch with us physicians in the hospitals, because we really look for students that are interested in clinics, and as you said, about 80% are looking for things to do after they do their master. So hospital is a very good place to do research, which will be also not mainly, not everybody's publishing in Nature, but neurology is good as well. So thank you.
So the floor is open.
I'm from Innsbruck Medical University, so therefore I'm not very familiar with the Israeli system of medical school, right? What is the general curriculum a medical student has to go through, right?
After finishing high school and serving 2 or 3 years in the army, he has to apply to Tel Aviv University or other medical universities, and then when he is accepted, there is the conservative 6-year project, whereby within these 6 years he spent the first 3.5 years here in Tel Aviv University in basic studies, where they really
So
lack.
they don't get in touch with patients?
Never. A little bit, sometimes and they really are wishing to do that, so this was one of the idea.
I completely understand. Okay.
And there are also additional programs with 4 years studies for students that already completed their master degree in biology or related areas, neuroscience, for instance.
What is the dropout rate? I mean, if they get in contact with patients at a very late stage of their education, do you have then also a relatively high dropout rate that when they realize, okay, I'm not, let's say, suited for...
the dropout rate becomes even later, because then they decided, I don't want to be a clinician, exactly. I want to work in the industry, or I want to be a lawyer sometimes. This is really, I'm sorry for that, because the university or the government, I don't know, put a lot of money to educate somebody to be a physician, then we kind of lose him. And sometimes he goes to other aspects. So I don't have a real number, but I think it's between 5 to 15%. So if we have like 100 medical students, we can lose 5 to 15. There are also other reasons for losing them, like they want to be with their children, they want to do other things, it's too hard, but
so I'm familiar. But we also have a program for MD, PhD students, and I wonder if these excellent students are suited to go into such a career, doing an MD, PhD.
Actually, these students are specifically advised that they are accepted to the program, which is totally different from the MD, PhD. They don't want to do basic research. They just want to be better clinicians. So when they come to do residency, for instance, in neurology, they will be better understanding what is the research that is needed. They could do mainly clinical research. We want them to be much more or better in what we have now in our clinics, and to have a better overview, to be more interested in additional learning, thinking out of the box, doing statistics, and really in the hospital we find that the new generation are not interested in research, or the new generation of physicians. They are much less and less interested in that. It is very clear, for instance, in medical work, for instance, like gynecology, obstetric gynecology, or surgery, where they go really immediately out of the hospital to have a financial benefit, which is their wish, so they are not doing any research. And I think that we will pay for that in the future. I don't know if what's going on in other countries for that. But
what's the acceptance rate in the Arrow program? So how many students announce themselves per year?
In the beginning, I think that it depends. Now we have a very good network for knowledge, and the program became more and more familiar to the students, so they apply. Around at the end of each year, we get the application. So, for instance, last year we got like 55 application, and then we actually chose, I think, 12 new, and we had 16 before, and we had also from the New York program. So I would say it will be like 1 to 3.
Is the university involved in any way in budgeting this program?
Unfortunately, no. But now that we will have new dean, I hope. No, I'm really, because actually we really asked our hospital director, who is very initiative in or interested in academia, but his main research was that these students will stay in Sheba as physicians, because there is also competition with other hospitals. So if you are already a student in a hospital, you know the hospital, maybe it will give you initiative to stay there, or to stay in a department, or to choose a specific residency.
But I think at the same line, this is another way of increasing the collaboration between the medical centers and the university, and making the university a partner, because this is it's a Sheba alone project.
One possibility is maybe to give, the university can give such students, because the mentors are Tel Aviv University associated. So maybe the university can give them a master's degree or something like that, and formalize this, so that there will be a benefit. This is something to think about.
I think that they are not looking for a degree. They are looking for some. For instance, many of the students presented their work in the Tel Aviv University Research Day. So it's kind of in this way, and we encourage them really, and also the mentors. But also, I think they contribute to the mentors to achieve additional degrees when they, they also want to progress in their academic degree. But I do think that this could be improved if it will be also in other hospitals, and it's very easy to do, because many hospitals have many clinicians that really want to do research, but the research would not be pipetting in the lab, but it will be more clinical research related, involving patients, involving data analysis, involving analysis of MRI and things like that.
Biologists that also study medicine. So that's a 3-year program. It's called Meshuleved, and they could also be candidates.
We would love to have biologists and other aspects. We had, as I said in the beginnings, people coming, or students coming from biology, brain, specifically from Bar Ilan. They came from Neuroscience, the program. And why not? I think it's open to them, and I need to tell you that actually the students themselves were interested, because as I told you, in the first year they are not involved in research. They tried to be involved, and for instance, I can tell you my personal experience. My son, who is a medical student in Tel Aviv University, wanted to do research in the summer. He went to one of the laboratory here, and for 2 weeks, 2 months, till he eventually got some cognitive function to leave the project, he was washing dishes. Because, yes, and he went to a very distinguished lab from the students, and he had some, to be accepted to the lab, he had to do some, and other were not accepted anyway. But the head of the lab was not there for all the summer, and then from this point, and kind of students from his class, we really thought it would be interest to the students to be involved in clinical research, not necessarily real labs, but doing some studies. And I think the students contribute really a lot to our clinical work, or even basic work.
So we have a program, in Innsbruck, where they are, first of all, already in their first year seeing patients, right, in order to make them aware what their future profession will look like. because our problem often was that the training was so long in general subjects and programs that by the time they really entered a clinical or a clinical department and saw patients that they were, let's say, well trained in physics and biology and molecular biology, but not necessarily aware of what their profession would look like with patients, right? So we have completely changed the curriculum now. But in addition, they also have to do a research project, right? So this is mandatory, and we have something like 420 medical students per year, and they all have to do a 6-month research project, right? Starting, depending on at which level they are interested in doing it, right? But they have to seek out a lab where they want to do the training, where they do want to do the, let's say, functional MRI with a neurologist or with a psychiatry department, wherever, right? Or they also can go to the cell biologists and say, I want to do some very general lab, wet lab training.
This happens also here.
Yes, it happens for the MD degree. They need to do this kind of research, but I would use this stage to ask you, maybe we can start a collaboration whereby students from Innsbruck will come to Tel Aviv for 1 month and will do students' integration in different research projects. Also to start the networking from early stage of their medical studies.
We can discuss that, yeah.
Okay.
I think it also fits in a way of the project that the student has to do in the regular bachelor degree in biology or in neuroscience, where they have to spend 6 to 8 hours per semester in one lab to have a project. So I think we can offer them this as one of the projects as long as they do it in neuroscience. So I think this will be a nice way to integrate more students already at the bachelor level from biology or from neuroscience in this project and maybe with other hospitals.
I think that the students definitely can do it because they are so talented, and actually they study in the morning, and in the afternoon they could come to the hospital and be involved in the research. So it's like 10 hours per week. It's not something that they cannot do.
Okay, thank you very much, Anat, and definitely a very